like that energy is going to be the most important thing. And so if your energy is in contraction, if your energy is in fear, if your energy is in the fear of success, right? There's undercurrents. If your energy is in the fear of, like, what if I get seen by certain people and they don't like it, right? Like that is going to guide your actions. It's going to guide your decisions. It's going to guide how you actually move your business forward. And what I see is that we can create this friction for ourselves between what we say we want and the undercurrents of our energy that's actually, like, literally the energy that's moving things forward.
Welcome back to the Rock Your Gift podcast, where we operate at the intersection between business, personal growth, and creativity. And today I have a really powerful guest. Her name is Stephanie Zito. She is an intuitive business coach that helps women to scale non-linearly through energetics. She's been doing this for over a decade, and she's a powerhouse. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Sean. I'm glad to be here.
I'm so excited to get some time to connect with you. We've obviously had some moments of connecting over the years, but to get a chance to really dive into what you do at a deeper level, I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you. Same.
Yeah. So tell me about it. Like, give us a little backstory on what you do and kind of how you came to doing this.
I think it's really been an evolution and not something that I would have thought I would have landed into. I think because I really have followed my intuition, and in following my intuition, it's cracked open into really having this mission to help women to, like you say, rock your gift, have your voice, bring your heart's work into the world in a way that can also be really lucrative. And that's my mission in the world. So it's helping women to really find that thing and trust it and move through the fears that are natural that are going to come up, and then create lucrative businesses through that.
What kind of clients do you work with?
Mostly coaches, healers, women who are helping solve a problem for someone in some way, whether it's through money, health, or relationships. I mean, I really have coaches across the gamut. I have some that are, I think right now especially, there's like something shifting with women who are like diving deeper into like spiritual work, or work that might even involve things that kind of go outside the box, like intergalactic communication and things like that. So I think it's really women who are kind of stretching into that next level that's very unique. And also I'm finding there's more of a curve towards people who are really interested in diving deeper into these things too.
So how did you get into this? What was the intro for you into this kind of work?
Into coaching itself?
Yeah, and this energetics and all this stuff.
Well, so my background actually is in conflict resolution, and I think in that there is this desire to help people resolve their conflict within. And so if you have a desire and you're working this full-time job that you hate, and you know that you would love to be helping women to heal their back pain through energetics or have better relationships, then let's bridge that for you. Like, that to me is like the best gift that I could give in what I do. So what actually happened was I was afraid to put my gift out there. And then back, oh my gosh, probably about 10 years ago, my husband had lost his job, and we had very little kids, and I was just teaching yoga and doing my thing. And I was like, okay, this feels like a cross the line in the sand moment where I could probably go and get a full-time job that I don't really want, or I could live the life that I want, that I know is in me, and start coaching. And so this is going to be a little interesting story because it's like this little lineage of people who you know. So I went to this festival called Lightning in the Bottle. And again, with the synchronicities, to me, I live in a world of manifesting synchronicities, things showing up in right time. I met who was to become my then coach, John Block. Okay. And I learned to speak from stage and bring in clients. And what was so interesting is I didn't know what to call myself. So I'm part woo, part strategy. So I became a speaker's coach. But every single person who came to me, we did the inner work. We helped them find like what was their true voice and what they really wanted to be doing in the world, and maybe making decisions to quit the job or to make some big shifts. And so I started to find my rhythm. And in doing that, broke open more into my intuition, into my psychic abilities. And it was just like one thing cascading into the other, realizing that, if we know what we're doing, well, now we need the strategy, right? We need the good strategy in order to make money doing this. And so it just sort of has been like one thing after the other, cascading forward into what is now helping women, especially with the energetics, which is really like, to me, the baseline of everything that we're bringing, and then the strategy to help support that.
Awesome. So talk about the energetics piece. There's probably people who don't know what you mean by that.
So I imagine like your business or your life is kind of like this ecosystem, right? So if you picture like an ecosystem, we used to work in the outdoors. So you picture like a desert ecosystem or a jungle ecosystem. Like a really healthy ecosystem is going to have these different components to support it. And the main one is we need like the sunlight. The sunlight is like your energy. If we don't have any sunlight, we don't have any of this stuff. None of this is going to work. So just imagine like your personal energy that you're bringing to your work in the world, like that energy is going to be the most important thing. And so if your energy is in contraction, if your energy is in fear, if your energy is in the fear of success, right? There's undercurrents. If your energy is in the fear of like, what if I get seen by certain people and they don't like it, right? Like that is going to guide your actions. It's going to guide your decisions. It's going to guide how you actually move your business forward. And what I see is that we can create this friction for ourselves between what we say we want and the undercurrents of our energy that's actually like literally the energy that's moving things forward. So sometimes I think we create more friction because we have like sabotage coming in, or we have an upper limiting belief, or especially around money. There's a lot of like energy around money, right? Like the imprint of, are we going to surpass our parents, or whatever that story might be. So like that literally is like the baseline for everything else. It's like the food we put in our body is going to create the body we have, right? The energetics of that. So similarly, like having your energy aligned with your mission, having your energy aligned with what you desire is going to make everything so much easier and so much more seamless. And that's why I say we can scale non-linearly, because most of the time we're just the ones getting in our own way.
Yeah, that's so on point, and I totally relate to all of that. It seems like we have a lot in common.
Yeah.
And this integration that you have of the energetics piece and like this scaling piece, right? Where you're like, you're talking about helping people make money. You're talking about business, right? And a lot of times people are in one or the other camps, or they feel like if they're energetic, they can't talk about business. If they're business, they can't talk about energetic. So how did you find your way into like weaving these parts together?
Well, yeah, to be quite honest, I really feel like I struggled for a long time in doing that. And I can't say, like, I really like to learn from mentors. I like to learn from others. And I can't say that everyone always got me, right? And so I would kind of put myself into one camp, like became a speaker's coach because it made sense, but it just didn't feel aligned. Like, it was this like thing gnawing at me. And so for me, one of the things I do energetically or intuitively is I help people go into what we call their Akashic records. And if someone doesn't know what that means, it means that if you believe that we've got this like real long arc of a soul, right? And you have this soul journey, like your energy is in this body now, and maybe you'll be something else in the future, or maybe you had something in the past. Like you kind of have this whole storyline, and you can imagine that like you have this kind of library of information. And so when we go into that library of information, we get information that just downloads. It's just so specific to help heal something. Why do I keep circling around this? Where am I meant to go? What's my next step in my journey? Like, it's literally all there in your soul's records. It's just a matter of taking the time to step back and go into that place. And so for me, going into that place just really cracked open understanding that like I'm meant to be the synthesis of these two things. It's one feeds the other, right? So I love living in that land because my business coaching, like I just include the energetics. Like, you're going to get the energetics because along the way somewhere, you're probably going to bump into something, right? When you're at that next level of success, that next level of, just whatever that looks like. And so we want the energetics to be there to support, because we're not just business people too. Like, we've got personal lives. And so those things can also interweave into how we're working our businesses as well. So keeping the energy kind of, it's like your hygiene, right? Like weekly energy hygiene is just gonna make you better at everything.
How do you keep up the hygiene, the energy?
Personally?
Yeah.
So right now I have, it's like an abundance meditation that I do daily, and I go into my Akashic records pretty much daily as well. And it's funny, I will be real honest here, is that I've had some resistance to that sometimes because sometimes there's things in there that you don't want to look at that feel uncomfortable. I remember, before I moved to California, which is where I really wanted to live, and met my now husband and have our beautiful family, I was in a different relationship because, and I was living in like the wrong place, going after the wrong jobs, and I just didn't trust, I didn't believe. And the truth was inside. It was like, you need to move, like just go to California. But I was resisting it because I wasn't allowing myself to see and trust into the future beyond like that present moment, right? And so like that fear was leading me until such time as it didn't, because I let myself go into the Akashic records and really see the truth for myself and just kind of surrender in a sense to something, a plan greater than I could cook myself, so. See, that's a little reminder right there. That's the message right there. What is it, 11:11?
Love those alarms.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So really quick on the Akashic record stuff, like how do you access the records? Like, what does that look like? Because some people might like think it's like you go into some file cabinet or like what?
Well, I mean, I think it's really helpful to look at visuals, and you can visualize that you are going into a file cabinet. You can visualize you're going into a library or a computer folder. So when I teach it, I have an Akashic Abundance like 3-day program, and someone can do on their own or come and do it live with me. And what we do learn a method to kind of get in there, because sometimes I think we're sitting here and we're thinking about what's for lunch and what happened and did we pay that bill, and so we kind of need to get out of that brain wave length into this other brain wave area, which is to me more in like a channeled space to something greater than us in this moment with what we're doing and these decisions. And so I do take us through like a meditative sort of space to kind of like get into that access area, which to me can look like you are meeting with a guide, meeting with a soul guide to help guide you in there. It looks like you're accessing this library. You're going in with a particular question. And then I like to do what I call way showing, which is, you and I are sitting here and I'm guiding you in. You're telling me along the way, like I got the guide, we're in the library. So I'm kind of tracking with you, and then I can help you as you're encountering certain things, or if you get a little stuck, or if it helps you to look a certain way. Like, I remember one woman who, she does incredible work with healing and with the ocean and dolphins and horses. So let's talk about like the nexus of a few different things, right? It's amazing. It's perfect for her. And people want this, but she was sort of questioning, how do I do this? Is this for me? And so, I took her into her Akashic records, and this is literally, helping turn her gaze. This is exactly what she saw. And she saw the people who were there to help her bring this forward. Like, she kind of saw all of it. So sometimes you just need someone in there with you to kind of help you see it. So I say this at the same time, I'm not a dogmatic person. I grew up in the Catholic Church, which has a lot of rules and regulations about who can do what and how you can do it. And I'm here to tell you, like, you don't really need someone else to help you do this. If it helps you to have a little structure, then definitely go and like listen to a meditation or some guidance, or come and learn from someone like myself. And we don't need to go through all of these doors. We don't, there's no one holding the gate from you entering this. Like, I could right now, go into the Akashic records with you. Like, I'm used to doing this, and so I can go right in there like in a moment's notice, or when I'm with a client, things will just show up because I'm used to toggling between this sort of channel and sitting here with you and drinking a coffee, right? So I just want us to understand, like, I think sometimes we think there's these gatekeepers, or we think like you have to have these special abilities or a certification. And to me, none of that is true.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how related what I've done when it comes to like automatic writing and tapping into my intuition, that is to that process, but that's what it reminds me of. Because it's exactly like going from that, linear thinking stuck inside of kind of the box of the way that, your problems and your small self, and kind of looking at all of these challenges and going into like, okay, what is it that is trying to emerge? What's the reason for this challenge? Like what's the deeper thing I'm not seeing? And then like hearing that or getting that insight, and then being able to kind of correct course because you actually see like the thing that you were blinded to because you were so inside of that linear space. So I don't know if that's similar or what, but that's what it reminds me of.
I think you do know that it's similar, and that's why you're bringing it up.
Yeah.
So I know I appreciate you bringing that up. The process of automatic writing, where maybe you start with a question or not, and you just start to write what's coming out. What you're allowing yourself to pass past that gate that is probably maybe a little bit cautious or fearful or is feeling vulnerable. And this to me is really important because, for anyone out there who you feel like you're just like circling the same question, you're circling the same thought. Am I doing the right thing? Should I be doing this? Is this right? Like, we want to get out of that thought loop, which is just going to take a lot of time and energy and cortisol. And it's something like automatic writing, where you let yourself get into like this different, to me, like a different, I would say, brainwave state. Someone with more science could probably tell you exactly what's happening. Like, you are kind of opening into this space where you're able to get more, to me, like direct access to greater wisdom, or like the truth behind the fears, right? It all exists when you just kind of like let go, surrender, like let the truth come out,
It's so important, especially for people that are called to lead and to do big things. I think that fear is kind of like the norm, people are stuck in fear everywhere. But like when you're, people who don't step out to lead, it's a different kind of fear where it's like it's sort of very, very linear based, I believe. And not that they don't have a deeper intuitive stuff, but I think that those of us that are called to lead, that every step out and go for our dreams and break through barrier after barrier to try to do the thing that we were called to do. And like people look up to us and say, oh, how did you do this, whatever, because we've taken these steps. There's a whole nother level of needing to have this energetic hygiene, as you were talking about it, because it's like, first of all, there's people that you're not responsible for, but that, that you're helping, that you need to be a leader for. But it's also like, how fast do you want to rise to that next level? Because the deeper that we connect into what's the reason behind this, what's the truth, as you were saying, and how do I like, sidestep that loop that I'm in. That's how we get to those next big breakthroughs. And I think that it's so hard because there's so much challenge I experience, and I'm sure that many people do, especially in the leadership space. There's so much that tumultuous, energetic, emotional, like upheaval energy that goes on when you're up against, that upper limit or that next level. It's so one of my mentors would call it the terror barrier. It's so terrorizing. It's like I'm in bondage. I'm stuck in this thing. I'm scared. I'm freaking out. All this stuff is happening. And then there's this opportunity to really to kind of cross that powerfully and then like step into a version of you that transcends that. That to me is like what I feel like it sounds like you're up to in the world and helping people do. And the thing that I think isn't talked about enough, because it's just like hard to describe, but it's critical. It
is. And I think you're one of those people, and I think anyone who feels like they are a pioneer or a visionary, I want us to think about the idea of like, we have these different people within inside of us that we have to task with different things, right? Like when you're the entrepreneur, kind of sometimes you're doing like all of it, right? You are your own virtual assistant sometimes, and you are your own astronomer, right? The astronomer is the one who is kind of the visionary, like pulling back to see the big picture. And I think if you are one of those people who feels like you are leading the world, leading people somewhere better, somewhere greater, then you're going to be tapping into that astronomer. And if we get too stuck in the weeds, too stuck with, well, what is this person doing and how are they doing that? Like we kind of forget we have to take that bigger picture vision. And the truth is like those moments of terror, like those are like the ones I feel like that like if you're going to move towards a moment of terror, like you were meant to, you were meant to. And I think when we remember in that moment, first of all, like what is the worst thing that could happen, right? Because I look at sometimes, like, I like to study people. I look at like very visible people and, you know, we may have different opinions about any particular person I might bring up, but I look at someone like a Taylor Swift. My 11-year-old son would be like, oh my God, Taylor Swift. But, you know, she's someone she's giving away money, right, to people. She seems like a good person and she's been booed at a football game, right? Like not everyone likes her. So, you know, the visibility is going to bring with it some people who don't like you, right? The visibility is going to bring, guess what? You might make a mistake. You know, like it doesn't mean you have to be impenetrable or you have to be all-knowing or you have to be perfect, right? Like it's okay to be a human too and just to be in your human experience. If you're meant to lead others, then you're going to have that astronomer viewpoint sometimes. See the bigger picture. See like that, you know, someone making a negative comment, or I have a client who has put out a card deck and she was talking to me about how she got a 4-star review. And I was like, what if you got a 0-star review? Then what? I told her how she could actually use that in her marketing for more people to be more visible. Like the controversial creates the visibility, creates the movement for others who, you know, you're serving them too. So I think being okay with not everyone liking us, being like, these are the movements that we move through, right? And if your soul is called towards this work, then you're called towards these movements. Like your soul is you are going to grow as a human. You're going to move out of this undercurrent of fear, like you're meant to, and you're gonna feel it probably. It just, to me, it's like how can we welcome that in when we're feeling it? Like we know we're ready for that next cusp when we are feeling that fear.
Yeah, it's a great flip of that, you know, like this is happening for me.
Yeah.
And taking that on like, you know, you're grateful for it versus like it's bringing you down. So powerful. And I feel like in all the moments of my career where I've hit those big roadblocks, those big dark nights of the soul, there was always this turnaround where I could see it as happening for me, and then I was able to transcend it, but only until I saw it as happening for me. Up until that point, I'm in that victim mindset, and then it feels like, you know, I'm scared and I'm a boy and I'm gonna be whatever the consequence that I'm afraid of is gonna happen, and I am powerless to control it until like I realize, no, like this is happening for me. This is my power. This is my power trying to like wave its hand saying like take me.
Right.
And that is a really like powerful reframe for anybody watching that's going through something right now, and to realize like, if you can see it as happening for you, you can take it into your hands to turn it into your next level. If you can't see it as happening for you and you keep that pattern up, then you're going to be in this like consistent, like nothing ever works out in my favor and everything falls apart kind of energy, because you didn't meet the challenge with your power. You met the challenge with your victim self, right? So I feel like that's a huge opportunity for all of us, especially, you know, in these times where I think a lot of people are going through a lot. So one of the other things I want to talk to you about has to do with, you know, these people that come to you and they have these unique things that they do, and they're fearing like, how do I step into this? Like, will people buy this? And I totally relate to that. You know, I think that for me, I'm interesting in the sense that like, I've got this very kind of, I don't know, like external kind of materialistic based like background in certain ways, where my dad made it in Hollywood and, you know, we were successful. My dad judged a lot of things based on like, you know, looks and all these like kind of egotistical, I mean, my dad's amazing, but like he's from like the Hollywood, this classic Hollywood thing where, you know, there's my mom who was very woo-woo and she got me into spirituality. And so there's these sides of me that sort of can dip really deep into the depth of the personal growth work, like, and I've gone and taken it beyond like what my mom, shared with me. My dad has his own version of spirituality, so he's not just all, surface or all, but the thing is that I know how to see from the side of somebody who's like, this is bullshit, right? Like somebody's talking about energies and like, it's not real, right? I can see from like that perspective, and I can see from like, no, energies are literally real. Like I can see like both of those sides really, really clearly. And so when it comes to like business and making money, and the idea of introducing something that is like from your soul, that doesn't have this like real obvious external equivalent, or something that is maybe normally unacceptable in normal spaces, it's very uncomfortable for me to like step into that power, because that part of me that is like needing approval or wanting to make sure that I'm liked, or people pleasing, or make sure that it sells, kind of a lot of times like takes over. And then there's this part of me that's hurting because I really want to listen to and take a chance on the thing that is my gift, is my unique thing. And I'm, obviously stand for Rock Your Gift, where it's about integrating of your gift, but I struggle just like anybody with that integration between those two parts. And like, can I trust that the thing that is my genius zone, that nobody around me ever did, like there was no mentor that quite did what I did, so I don't have a model for it. Can I trust that is going to be valuable? Can I trust that something intangible versus this makes you money is going to be able to make me money, right? So I wonder how you deal with helping your clients who are going through any kind of similar crisis around trusting their voice.
Yeah, well, I think the first thing that I'm hearing, like on both and sides, right, is our societal imprints. Right. And so on the one hand, the societal imprint from Hollywood is, well, it's got to have a certain optics to it. Right. Or it's only going to sell if it's like a certain way. And versus, I think many of the women that I'm working with, they don't necessarily have that kind of maybe monetary background. And so their kind of backstory when it comes to societal imprinting is more like maybe like the broke healer, right?
Yeah.
Or like those things, like just like even like you're saying, it's the same story. Like those things can't exist simultaneously. Right. And I would venture to say that the reason that we believe that is because of a lot of things that have happened throughout history to sort of like diminish, silence, quell these levels of healing that don't make money for big companies, to be quite honest, right? And so it's much more convenient to kind of like say that that's wrong or can't make money, or like that's become the history of sorts, right? So the main thing I think is looking at kind of like, again, the astronomer viewpoint of the things that are going to be kind of very popular, like, that are going to kind of surface and rise, like you probably are at the forefront of that right now. And so maybe it's not the mainstream. However, the truth is that, before there were cell phones, there weren't cell phones, or any of these particular ideas that people were like, that's crazy. If you look back in history, like before there was a thing, there wasn't that thing. Or, we look at like the shift from, from cable to satellites, right? And like people who didn't move into that, like they probably lost their shirts because they stuck around too long in the old energy. And so, to me, the main thing that I think is the most important is the more you can like lean into the trust of the vision, and you can understand that there are absolutely ways to monetize this. People are doing it right now, right? You can't tell me that there aren't people in Hollywood that are hiring psychics. There are, or politicians that are hiring psychics. Like they absolutely are, right? So I think it's more about how you position yourself and how you hold your standard for what you know to be true, right? Like you're holding that gold within, like you're holding that diamond within, like you're seeing the value first. Energetically, you are recognizing the value, and then really it's it's copy, it's ad speak. It's like, how are we translating this to someone who can hear it in a way that they can see the impact for their own life? A lot of times I think the main issue is the words that we're speaking are very elevated, right, in this woo-woo world. And it's not speaking to people who, like, you can absolutely help solve their problem. We just have to also speak their language too. And that's just for anyone, right? So to me, it's really no different. It's just that I think there are a lot of people out there who actually like do feel like they've dipped their toe into energy. They kind of do understand. It's just a matter of like speaking it to a way that, like, it's like you're in the kitchen with them, or you're, with them late at night scrolling their phone with what they're really thinking about. If we can speak to that, then we're kind of bridging into, your success.
So being able to hold the uniqueness or the pioneering message that you're here, and be able to communicate it in a way that prospect actually can hear it, right? Like not being so woo-woo that you're losing people, right?
Right. You're just talking at a different level that, maybe someone they're interested in, but they just don't quite see. I mean, I think in general, we all understand, like, what are our main concerns? It's like money, love, health, right? So if we can kind of just, to me, it's about like, we need to create this bridge. Just imagine that these things, like your work in the world or mine, like it may come, to me, it comes from like this greater place. We can call it like we live in the 3 dimensions. Yeah. So think of like this 5th dimension, this like higher place, this place where like information comes in, like from the quantum field, from higher consciousness. These things, they need to be able to get like processed or translated. Just picture like you need to be speaking a certain language with someone. Like, am I speaking your language too? Are we speaking the same language? Because if we're not, we're just going to be missing each other.
I love that. That's a great way to put it. That's so cool. So I'd love for you to share, actually in a moment, what it is that people can do if they want to connect with you. But first I want to tell you to make sure that you subscribe to the channel, that you comment and you share it, let people know about the Rock Your Gift podcast. And I would love to have your friends check it out. So make sure you subscribe, click that subscribe button, and let's hear from you. Like, what is it that people can do to get to know you better?
Absolutely. So you can always find me on social media, on Facebook. I'm just Steph Zito. And I do have a free gift for listeners. It is a wealth bundle. And part of my work is helping to help people release their stories that are in the subconscious. And so there is a hypnosis. I use hypnosis to help with that, to access that subconscious space, to create abundance within, and then allow that to pour out through their work in the world. And then there's another couple of really beautiful trainings in there too. So that can be accessed for free with the code WEALTH. And I'm sure we'll just pop those codes and links into the show notes.
Yeah, exactly. Is there a URL though that you can point us to?
We'll put that in the show notes.
You got it in the show notes. You got it. You got it. But make sure you let them know it's Steph with a PH.
Steph with a PH, Zito on Facebook.
1 T or 2 T's?
STEPH.
And then
Zito, ZITO.
Just 1 T. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So there you have it. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've really enjoyed it. I'm glad we got a chance to get to know each other.
Thank you.
Is there any final thing that you want to share?
Really, it's just that, if you're out there listening and you've got this amazing idea in your heart, like who you're meant to serve, I really just recommend, just get started. Just date the idea. You don't have to get married to it. Just date the idea. If you get too stuck in the idea, just take one more step forward, one more step of visibility, talk to one more person, right? Just kind of start there, because if it's in your heart, it's meant to be out in the world too.
I love it. All right. You heard it here on the Rock Your Gift podcast. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Peace.